Danielle asked the original question that I came up with as I was sitting watching the movie. Jacob, right? No, let's just realize it. When you originally wrote the script, was Jacob intended to die? Was he, because as I was watching it, I thought he was going to be the main character. So can you please walk us through how you wrote the script, how you decided that Miss Danielle here was going to be your superstar?
That was always the intention of the film, was to paint the picture of it being about the husband, but in reality it was about the wife. And so that's honestly a secret that feels so free to finally say about. You know, we really wanted people to focus on the marriage and the relationship of it and the core of it, but her being the survivor of his actions, basically. And that was always intended from the beginning. There was a Beauty and the Beast kind of vibe that I was going for. Seeing, you know, the prince kind of turned into the monster, into the beast at the very end. That was something I always really wanted to see. And it was just a matter of how we got there, basically.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. We love that. Miss Danielle, how did Phil being the superstar? You really dove into the role. You did your own stunts. You were falling, you were running. Can you explain to us how you felt in the moment seeing Jacob, your husband, transition into the monster he was actually trying to stop?
Well, John Pene is extremely talented, so he was really easy to work with. Yeah. And Isaac, can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. And Isaac is just so talented that I just really talked through with him about like the character and like the relationship. So Isaac just made it really easy for me to get into character. And when he told me I was going to do the stunts, I was like, are you sure I can do this? I don't know if I've never done like stunts before, but we rehearsed, we practiced, and I thought it looked well.
Oh, it looked great. You guys did a phenomenal job. You guys really sold the movie. Thank you.
Yeah, no, give it up. Yeah.
So Jacob, Mr. John, you did a phenomenal job. You really sold the movie. Can you tell us a little bit how you get into character and perform your scenes? You guys really sold this love story.
Yeah. I typically like to put myself in the headspace of the character. I think that if I'm gonna expect people to sit down and watch me, I have to do it justice. So I try to stay in the head of the character as much as possible. We spent a lot of time, me and Isaac, really drafting out the character. It kind of gave me a good blueprint to follow, and I got to bring my own experiences and emotions, and having a scene partner that made it so easy to work with as well. It was easy. The world was there, and just had to deliver, basically.
I think that. I've worked with Isaac a lot. He definitely makes it easy. He lines everything out very precisely on what he wants, what he's looking for. So I can really see how it's just easy to step into that role. So Isaac, horror movies. Have you always been interested in writing a horror movie?
Anybody that knows me knows that I actually grew up in a strict Christian household. So that meant horror movies were essentially forbidden. If you put anything on, you were inviting evil into the home. It was that kind of superstitious. Obviously, as the years went by, that kind of cooled down a little bit at my house. But growing up, it was like, don't bring in the Poltergeist, don't bring in The Ring, don't watch Texas Chainsaw, don't watch any of that stuff because that's real and you're inviting that into. So for me, it wasn't really a genre I can say I connected with, I grew up on, I always wanted to do it. It really became as an adult, kind of watching all of even the recent horror films that have came out in the past couple of years. Some of them are really good, some of them not so good. And so that was also like a way into it, was like, okay, well, I'm not a fan of the genre to begin with. Can I make something that makes me interested in it? And with that came with so much homework, so much looking at sci-fi, at horror, at all the classics from black and white to color to everything that's happening today, and just kind of taking all the things that I love and the things I didn't like about it to the side and making our own thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you spoke about research, Ms. Danielle. you really sold your medical profession. Talking about epinephrine, looking for a pulse. How much research did you actually do going into the role to sell that medical professional?
Well, one of the extras there was actually a medical professional. So he brought like all these IV bags, and I was like, well, what does this do? And so it was really easy to I said, well, what do we do? Like, what is, kind of talked me through. You'll lay them on the table. We'll start an IV. We'll pump epinephrine. So I said, oh, okay, just take some notes. So yeah, he really talked me through. And then Isaac said, this is kind of what they do in an emergency. So
yeah, we have crash cards.
Yeah.
I know about when I was a nurse practitioner.
Oh.
I was actually very impressed, watching the scene, listening to the beeps, the IV bags. It was all very, very cool. So going back to Isaac, where did you source all of these props? In the locations, you had houses, cars. It was just very impressive.
You just pull favors, man. You just ask and beg. And please let me use this, please. A couple of people were super cool about it. Some of them were exchanged for work. I'll take photos for your business if you let me, just shoot a scene here. It'll only take a couple of hours. We always did our best to try and communicate. I don't know if the owners of the home that we shot the alien scene are here. Maybe they left, but we shot that scene literally like 3 weeks ago. So it was just really pulling our whoever we had in our back pocket, in particular with the hospital stuff. Is Candace here? That was actually Candace, our makeup artist, her connection. And what's funny about that story, I'll tell it really quickly, is I went there, met the manager, explained exactly what we were gonna do. Because when making a movie like this, you can't lie, you can't try to like sneak your way in. You have to be completely honest with what the genre is, how messy it's gonna get, and what you're gonna do and clean up afterwards. So I had a whole conversation with the manager. Everything was all set in stone, and he was like, I'm gonna be out of town, but don't worry, I'm gonna let my people know. We show up the day of to shoot. Nobody had any idea what we were doing there, and they had patients in the back. It was actually a chiropractor unit. It wasn't even a hospital. And they were making it so difficult on us. They're like, can you be quiet? And we're like, literally, no. Like this is the whole scene that we're doing. And we shot more than we needed in that scene. I wasn't gonna let those people stop us, basically.
Really dope.
That's hilarious. So you showed up and nobody knew anything. You just kind of did the last minute. You were just running a gun.
we were actually scaring the patients because we were screaming, people were yelling.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of yelling. Definitely loved the movie. The acting was great. My next question for you for John. What did you think of actually working under Isaac and trying to see his vision? Because his vision is very intricate, it's very detailed, it's very precise.
I think after we shot the first draft of the script that he had sent me, I was like, okay, it's over. I did what I was supposed to do. I died. I'm good. And then he hit me up a while later. It's like, well, I got some ideas. So,
Well, there's more.
brought me back, and we shot that. And I was like, okay, I died, came back as a zombie. That's it. And a while later, he hits me up again. He goes, I got some ideas. So
Yeah.
we ended up shooting, I think, 3-4 more times after that, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm glad we did that.
I just want to say, John is such a talented actor. So it's like getting a guy like him. No, seriously. Getting a guy like him to keep coming back, and I mean that in a sense of like he's busy, like he does legitimate like project after project after project, and he puts in so much work into each one. And so my concern was you go off and do other projects, and mentally you kind of lose that headspace a little bit. You know what I mean? You kind of like forget about the character. And so I knew it was an ask, you know, of like, hey man, I know you mentally are done with the thing. But is there any part of you that feels like you could explore more of the character? And that's where we got the restaurant scene. That's where we got him coming as a zombie. That was never in the film. We never wrote that in the script. That was never going to be seen. It was only something that we referred to.
So the restaurant scene was kind of a last minute shoot. He was already done, finished with it, and you decided to add on to it to kind of build that love story a little bit more. is what I understand.
Yeah, and something that was actually really challenging about that, I don't think I ever told you, but coming back for every single additional shoot we did, I had to sort of figure out how to keep the character, like it was a zombie, and then we came back in the past, so I had to try to figure out how to like find some sort of piece of the character that was all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was challenging, and I learned a lot in that process. So thanks. But yeah,
Isaac, can you tell us your thought process behind how you actually build the zombies? Like, they are kind of dormant during the day, they are aggressive at night. Can you explain that to us? I was a little, I wouldn't say confused, but I was trying to understand it more.
So the original genesis of like Let's Do Zombies was, it kind of came from, I don't know if anyone's heard of this movie, Super 8. It's by J.J. Abrams. It's about a group of kids that go out and pretend to make a zombie movie, and they discover an alien through that process. And it's actually very, very inspiring to me in a sense, and the style, the storytelling, all that kind of stuff. And so that was an interesting thing to me was the makeup, you know, putting that on people and seeing that process and not having just one singular monster through it. And so I came to my friends with that idea of like, I want to try and do something that kind of like goes against Walking Dead, that goes against, you know, Dawn of the Dead, or any movie that essentially has the word dead in it. And it was Ronan sitting right up here, actually, my production designer, shout out to him. I came to him with the idea, and he goes, well, what if they glow in the dark? And that was literally game changing, because then it invited the idea of like, okay, if they glow in the dark, then what if they only came out at dark? And okay, and then what's the threat during the day? People are the threat during the day, and then the threat at night is them. So it's like you're never safe. We took some inspirations from I Am Legend, but if you look at that movie, he's alone. He's safe during the day, you know, as long as he follows the rules and stays away from the dark. There's no people out there that are a threat to him. And so with this one, we get the best of both worlds. We get people that are a threat. Anthony's character, you know, he's not really I want to say antagonist, but he is someone that challenges the characters in a sense. And the film has really no bad guys. Everyone, to me, is the hero of their own story.
I definitely do want to give a big shout out to the production crew, especially Ronan. The set design, the music was amazing. I definitely fell in love with the song, especially the love song that you guys developed. It's an original, correct?
Sorry. The song at the very end is an original song during the credits. I don't know if the band is here. Oh, there they are. That's my first time meeting them. I have not met them before. I'm a big fan of the song, in case you guys didn't know, in case Marco hasn't told you. I listen to it at least 100 times a day, which hopefully it will be available very soon for you all to listen to on all platforms. The song during the restaurant scene, Air That I Breathe, that is a cover song that, again, Marco actually chose. I came to him, my composer. He's in the film. I thought that was a nice kind of Easter egg. But I came to him with, I need them to have a song that represents their love. I don't know what song that is, but if you can kind of help me figure this out. And he was the one that actually chose their love song. And by the end of the film, I always had this idea. I'm a big fan of Tenet, the soundtrack in that movie, and how Travis Scott's kind of vocals kind of like bleed through the soundtrack, and by the end of the movie, it equivalates to an original song. So that was always my pitch to him. You know, I'm also a big fan of, you know, I gotta say, Linkin Park, Transformers, What I've Done, you know. I know that's kind of like a joke now online, but to me, those were really big when I was a kid and I saw them. You know, it got you really hyped at the end. And so I came to him with those aspirations, and he was like, let me get back to you. And literally a week later, he messages me and he's like, hey, I got studio time, I got a band, we're recording the song tonight. And I was honestly mad at him because he didn't invite me. He didn't say, come check it out, see what we got. You know, I want you to look at the, I looked at nothing. He was like, it's just, we're making it. And then it was done. And he came over, we drove around and played it in the car several times. And I kid you not, it was just mind blowing. It was the greatest song I've ever heard. It was it was the James Bond kind of inspiration I showed him in Skyfall, No Time to Die, the beautiful piano, but the hard rock at the end, and it was just. It just perfectly matched the film. These guys didn't even watch it. You know, all he did was just tell them basic information, and they wrote a whole song in a night. Like, I wish I was there as a fly on the wall just to see that process, because I'm just so proud of the end product, guys.
He was definitely proud of the end product. I was saying he's definitely proud of the end product. Earlier he said that we dropped the movie off today, which was true. This morning, him and I woke up 8:30 in the morning, drinking hot coffee, drug it down here, but we brought it down here. On the way here, played the song twice. On the way back, played the song twice. At this point, I might memorize the whole song myself, so I really did enjoy seeing Marco. Thank you, Marco, for making that song for us. It was beautiful.
Juan as well.
Yeah, it was you guys did a great job. The film was just brilliantly made. Everything was thought of, from the set design, the color scheme. I love the green. I'm a huge fan of movies just like Isaac. I love the nature. I love the green. As you can tell, I got all the green on today, just for him. And so you did a wonderful job. If we can just give Isaac another round of applause. John, Danielle. It really took a village to build such an amazing event, and just grateful that you asked me to be here today. Do you mind if I open up some questions to the audience?
Absolutely.
All right. Who would like to start? Let's see, raise their hands.
Hey Isaac, first off I want to say I thought you did an incredible job. I was a big fan of your first film from a couple years ago, Remnant Falls. Beautiful 4K transfer, by the way, I loved it. For me, I mean, after seeing this movie, I know Zach Kreger is working on a Resident Evil movie, but after seeing this, I would love to see what you would do for a Resident Evil movie. That's what I say. Well, my question is, do you have any plans to maybe do more with this universe? Because after seeing the end of the movie, it looks like there's so much more opportunities to see what could really, show the world of Midnight Uprising. Do you have any plans for that, or is it just kind of a one and done?
I'm glad you're a fan. Any fans of Remnant Falls by any chance out there? Anyone? Cool. You go from watching 2 hours of my face to 2 hours of nothing of me. So it's, that to me was really great to kind of go back behind the camera. This, as I said earlier in the beginning before the film started, this was not like a 10-year long story that I've been wanting to tell my entire life. So I can't honestly say that. But after Remnant Falls, the audience seemed to really enjoy it. That said so in the responses, in the Q&A, that said so in the people that bought the DVDs all across the world. That was really surprising to us. So it felt like, okay, there's an actual fan base for the things that we do, and that always seems to be the note I get at the very end. Is like, I wish there was more. I wish I saw more. I wish you did more. Even with my short films, it's always been the case with people, and I've always kept that in the back of my head. I will say I'm a huge fan of epic trilogies such as Lord of the Rings, the Dark Knight trilogy. I can kind of go on. Planet of the Apes is actually a favorite of mine as well. And the title is, as it suggests, this is the uprising. This is the beginning. This is the start. My original ideas was I wanted to make a post-apocalyptic movie. That was actually my first pitch. And in order to get to that, I felt like you had to see what happened before. You had to believe that these were real people. You had to believe it was a real world, really care for these people. And so I wanted to naturally progress to that world, which you saw a glimpse of at the very end of what that could be. I think it's really just up to the audience at this point. I mean, did you guys enjoy the film, or would you guys want to see more? The characters are very compelling. Danielle's character is very compelling. John's character is very compelling. Our additions of Xavier and his wife Emma, they're sitting right over there. Barton and Sorry, Nahea, sorry, I'm blanking here. They were so great. They were last minute additions to the film, and my pitch for them was very, very short, and they were very open to the scale that we're going for. So I don't want to fully answer your question because, again, I want to see how the audience feels about this and where we go from here. I would love to explore the world more.
I just want to say I have to get out of here, but it was freaking amazing, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Isaac, John, Danielle, it was amazing to work with you. You guys always bring out the best in all of us actors. So thank you, Isaac. Looking forward to the next one, man.
Thank you.
So if you left us on a cliffhanger and you killed off Jacob, so your only superstar now is gonna be Danielle?
Sorry, I don't want to do all the talking here. Danielle's character became the heart of the story. So I wouldn't necessarily call anybody the main protagonist. There is not a main character in the story. That's why I think it's kind of interesting about it. Like I said, everyone is the main character of their own arc. Everyone is the hero of their own story. Daisy is on her journey right now, and she's going through a lot. I think she's facing post-traumatic stress. I think she's very traumatized by everything that she has seen and everything that she has witnessed. And I think that was where we wanted to leave her off of, which is completely different from where we start her from the film. She kind of comes full circle.
Is there anything that y'all have plans for that you think he would be great to be involved with as a director, as a writer, as a producer? Is any going to be, besides possible sequels off of this film, is there anything that you can foresee where there's going to be more collaboration?
I would say off the top of my head, there's a couple of things that I can think of. I think right now I'm mostly focusing on the acting part. So once that kind of settles a little bit and we start thinking more as a producer or filmmaker, I think we'll definitely have some conversations we're gonna have together.
Oh, I think Isaac wanted it.
I just wanted to say we acted last summer together in a film with Anthony and Andrew. Is Andrew still here? There you go. So he was the director of that. And so we have worked with each other outside of this stuff. I'm interested in acting and directing and writing, a little bit of everything really, but that was a cool process, being able to, I'm not the director anymore. Now I could just sit back and just do what they do, literally.
I actually want you guys to know that Isaac is an amazing actor. I had him come on a 40-hour film challenge with me, and I called him a few hours before. I said, hey, Saturday night, what are you doing? Do you want to come to my house and we'll shoot a little short? So he's phenomenal. He should really step into that too. He's just overall really talented.
I have a question for Danielle. So you said this was the first time you've ever done a stunt. How or what did you do to prepare for something like that, or like to push yourself to do something that you've never done before?
We did a lot of practices, and just really making sure that I was comfortable. The actor I'm fighting in the very end is a big guy. Is he here?
No, he's not here.
No, okay.
He wasn't able to make it.
Super big guy. So just really making sure that I was comfortable doing it and safe.
So John, in the movie, you play a very serious role. Is that all you do as an actor? Do you do more comedy roles, or are you just kind of more a serious actor? What do you like to do? And it's actually my question.
I definitely love the drama side of things, like the serious emotions. I feel like that comes easier for me, but I think me and a couple of friends are being challenged to do some comedies. So I'm gonna explore that. So hopefully I'm funny.
I think we all hope that works.
He is actually hilarious. Like when we shot that thing last summer, we spent the whole nearly a week in the cabin. These guys were cracking me up the entire time, because we were just so tired from shooting, and so they really know how to have fun in between takes. But when they're working, they're locked in. So it's really just I definitely could see him doing comedy. I see him doing a musical. He does theater, so that's his background. That's really why the appeal for me working with him was that he comes from a theater background, she comes from a soap opera background. So they both really took the drama very seriously of what I was saying. It was we never joked about it. We never played like it never made sense. We tried to make it as real and as relatable to us as possible.
Towards
Sorry.
the end, I hope I caught this right. It didn't seem like Xavier died. And so I was wondering if that could be the nemesis for Danielle, or her character, to face in the next series. And I also was a little confused, so I'm going to give you some blowback on it, as to why you went back to their love affair after he presented himself as a zombie and then flipped to them having that restaurant scene. Kind of confused me a little bit, so I wanted you to expound on that too.
Well, can you remind me your first part of the question? I'm sorry.
So the first part of the question was, I think I heard
Right, Xavier, talking about Xavier. Yes. The men, yes.
Mhm.
So that's a good catch. The scene of all the people, all the community members kind of coming up to him and relating to him and his loss with his wife and his unborn child. That was, to have a compelling villain, if you want to call it that, you have to have a compelling backstory, a compelling origin for him. You don't want to feel like they're just trying to rule the world or take over the world for whatever reason. You want to be able to understand their motivations. And so for me, it was just about understanding him as a character, Xavier, the human side of it. So whatever you do with him going forward, you can kind of understand of like, oh, well, he's experienced loss. We get that. He's coming from a certain place. Danielle's coming from a certain place. He lost his wife and unborn child. She lost her husband. So there's a lot of relatability. Everybody has this relatability in the world of losing children and loved ones. And so that's something that they can connect on, but also are kind of divided on. He's, as you can tell from the last frames, he's fueled by anger. He's fueled by vengeance, probably. Going to your second question, you said you were a little confused. It just felt like a perfect opportunity exactly when the trunk closes. It felt like a perfect opportunity between there and the bunker scene of her having some kind of memory, some kind of flashback of a time that was a little bit special, but also a little bit hard. It's a beautiful scene because he's proposing to her, but it's also difficult because their relationship is in this turmoil where she doesn't really believe in the stuff that he's doing, but he's like, it's my job. I have to do what I have to do, which is a lot of the characters' motivations throughout the film, is that they have a job that they need to do. So it just felt like a beautiful opportunity to go back and spend more time with the characters. For me personally, I just felt like I didn't get to spend enough time because right when he walks through the door in the kitchen, the outbreak happens and everything goes to hell, which is cool. But I didn't get, at least for me personally, again, being a fan of both of them working together on screen, I just felt like I wanted to see more of them.
What inspired this film?
A million things really inspired the film. I couldn't really tell you one singular thing. It's really just, it was my love for, as I mentioned, I Am Legend, my issues with Walking Dead. I felt like the show just went on for way too long and needed to end. I don't know, I could honestly go on all day. The letter that I gave out to the audience, I think, is a beautiful way of me kind of explaining where the film came from and how it started and where it ended up going. One story that is within the film, halfway through the filming process, but around the point where we thought we were done, I unexpectedly lost my father, and it was very, very difficult for me. Still is, because it's still fresh. I lost him literally just last year, and I did not make the movie for him, but I finished it for him. He was a big fan of my work. He believed in the stuff that I wanted to do, and so I wanted to finish it for not only these guys, but also for him. So the movie comes from a lot of places. At that point, I had this new kind of motivation. I already had it before, but this newfound perspective of, again, life is just so fleeting. Losing someone that you loved for is just the worst feeling in the world. It's heartbreaking, it's devastating. And so I felt like that was something, again, that everybody can relate to at a certain point in time, whether that be a relationship that's gone, mourning the loss of a relationship, mourning the loss of an actual person physically just not being in this world anymore. So I come with personal stuff every time I write something. It's not just, fun and games for me. The relationship between both of them, the kitchen scene, all that stuff, you're obsessed with your research. All that is kind of, imitations and reflections of even my own relationship. And I think a lot of people can, again, relate to that. Is I'm so obsessed with my work. Sometimes it affects our relationship. Sometimes I'm not always here. Sometimes I'm not entirely engaged because my mind is scattered and running a million miles an hour, thinking about the future and the past and all this stuff. And that's the burden of Jacob as a character, is that he's just constantly thinking a million miles an hour, but she's thinking about the right here, right now.
All right. Before I ask my question, I want to tell you, when I saw Remnant Falls, this is the first time I actually met you, and I met a lot of the actors and actresses.
Rob is our executive producer, by the way, on the film. Thank you, Rob.
So I met some of the actors. Now, fast forward, I've been in some projects with many of them, and it's an incredible experience in my book. But anyone that has not looked up Isaac Joel on YouTube or anywhere online, do it, and watch his short Joker. It's when I realized he is a true artist. There's a lot of filmmakers that have gotten to know him here in this area. But there's a handful that have got this down to well past the science and a merging of art. And his artistry, you see in every production he does. You've got a lot of Spielbergism in the way that you move the camera and capture things in the background and bring those elements into the story. And if you're not paying attention, you're not even aware of it until you see it on screen a couple times. So kudos to that. But your artistry shows in everything I've seen so far, and I have become a true fan. And you know that. But I do have two questions. One is the inspiration on the title, and then two is just to satisfy my own morbid curiosity. Does Danielle's character, underneath her rap at the end, have damage from the nuclear blast?
That's an interesting question. I'm gonna answer the last one. I'm gonna say no. The reason why she's fully wrapped is because we logically talked about, in a lot of these post-apocalyptic movies, especially zombie related, the people are often like shirtless, not shirtless, short sleeves, they have no sleeves on, they're ripped, and they got big old muscles, and then a zombie comes and bites them on the arm. It's just the dumbest thing ever. And so that was a trope that I wanted to break. I was like, well, realistically, if it was me, I cover everything up, because if someone tries to bite me, at least I have some layers of protection, and I could get them off like a dog, and make my escape. So that was the idea of her being wrapped and everything like that. Your first question, I'm sorry.
The inspiration.
The inspiration of the title. I'm such a nerd. I hate talking about my inspirations because it just shows how nerdy I am, how lame I am, I feel like. But here goes nothing. Midnight was the first key word, and originally it had a K in it. Came from my love of, again, the Dark Knight and stuff like that. I wanted to kind of see a hero rise and a hero fall was the idea. quickly dropped the K and was obsessed with the idea of just Midnight. And again, once the zombie stuff kind of came into play, it started all clicking, it started all making sense, it all started lining up. Uprising, actually, truth be told, came from my love from Tron Uprising. It's an animated show. It kind of explores a little bit about what happens in between the stories of Tron and Clue and Legacy and all that kind of stuff, if you guys know about that. Loved the title, and so I just, kind of merged the two together, and it was literally like a puzzle piece that like just kind of clicked, and once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. The title told what the story was right away, so yeah. Hey, right back there, William. We have a question right back there. Gentleman with the handsome hat. Thank you everyone for coming by the way. I hope you guys have a great night, those who are leaving.
Well, first off, I wanted to take my time to thank you for giving me an opportunity to even be part of this film. So I personally, from my own heart, appreciate that. Thank you. And to everyone that participated, whether it's from the musical number or just extras, whatever, I appreciate everyone. My question is, because I don't have a DVD player anymore, I hadn't had one in years, the Blu-ray, will you, once you finalize your draft to the film the way that you want it, you're happy with, will you shop it around to other digital platforms, such as like Hulu or Amazon Prime or anything like that, so that we can watch it on a digital form instead of just a DVD?
My first two short films are on Amazon Prime. We tried to get Remnant Falls back then on Amazon Prime, and for whatever reason, I honestly don't understand that kind of stuff. I'm not that tech savvy. We have someone that helps us with it, but for whatever reason, it just didn't get approved, and it would take like literally months for them to tell us that. So I don't really I kind of fell out of love with the online platforms. It was just irritating me completely, and I don't like putting stuff out on YouTube because it just feels a little amateur for me. I want people to be able to experience this stuff the way it's intended. But I have heard this before. I do think we will our best try to find a way to make the movie available for streaming for those who really genuinely don't care about DVDs and stuff like that. But for me, making DVDs is just kind of keeping that love alive for physical media for myself personally. The DVD is going to be pretty loaded with we had behind the scenes Scrappy, our camera guy right here, essentially on set basically every day. And there's so much footage that hasn't even been seen, that's not even out there, of us literally day one and on the last day and shooting all this stuff. And we essentially could make a documentary. We kind of talked about it. Don't really know what we're going to do with the footage, to be honest with you, but we plan on putting that on the DVD. You'll get to see a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff, perhaps interviews from our actors here, talking more about their work. Another thing too is I'm a big fan of black and white. Mad Max Fury Road has an epic black and white cut. The Mist is one of my favorite horror films. It has a black and white cut. So I would love to see Midnight Uprising get its own black and white cut. I don't know if we would be able to do another theater release. I don't know if enough people would come a second time or anything like that. That's a wish, but also I could try and get that available for people to watch as well, so you guys have options. I want people to have options when they watch it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anybody else? Oh, everyone's hand went up. Oh,
We got one.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, great music from Marco. Shout out to Lon, the band. I just wanted to ask all three of you, I guess, creatively, what's like the hardest part about making this, and how did you guys overcome it?
I feel like I've talked enough. I would love to hear from these two.
Would you like to go first?
You can go first. We'll go in a row.
The zombie part for sure. I know that when he called me to shoot it, I told him what kind of zombie do you want, and he did all the sounds, and I'm gonna do that. that. So that was a challenge because he wanted this gargoyle in the back of his throat, and I was struggling to get there. So I think he kind of worked with me on set until we kind of got some shots that we felt comfortable with. So that was a challenge.
I think the physical aspect for me, especially when we shot in Hayden, Arizona, that bunker scene where I'm coming out, it was really heavy and I just kept saying like, I can't do it. And he just said, well, just please try. So after attempting, I finally got it open, thank God. But yeah, just the physical aspect of it, a lot of running. Yeah, a lot of fighting. But
screaming.
Yeah, a lot of screaming, especially when we did ADR. A lot of screaming. My voice the next day was really raw, and I just kept thinking, like, whoever is listening next door, they probably think Isaac is just killing somebody in here. Just, 30 minutes of just screaming my head off. Yeah.
On that note, dude, the blood, bro. What's up with that? So much blood in the film, bro.
Not enough blood, if you ask me. Not enough blood. It needs to be more gory. It needs to be more, like with the horror film, you really got to go all the way with it. And we tried our best. There was stuff that we couldn't do and we couldn't see. We had to make certain cuts around, but we really wanted to not shy away from the horror and not cut away from that stuff. Also going to Danielle, that was the only time she ever basically told me no. It's like, I can't do that, when opening the hatch. And that door, I kid you not, it was heavy. It may not look heavy on the movie, even though it's barely halfway open. It is a heavy, heavy door. We couldn't get it open by ourselves. We tried, and we're asking this poor little girl, hey, just do it. It's gonna be awesome. Trust us. And that was anytime things got hard, I just always looked at her and was like, when people see you do this, they're gonna be like, oh, she's tough. She's resilient, she's never gonna give up. And we wanted to make, an inspirational hero with that. I showed her a lot of Sarah Connor. We talked about Furiosa, these epic final girls, Texas Chainsaw Massacre that survived at the end of the movie. I wanted to have my own epic final girl and do it the way that I wanted to do it. And so I'm like, literally, it's Danielle put so much work into it. We all did, and I don't want to take away from us, but let's just be honest. The stuff that she does in the movie is just crazy, just absolutely crazy. Blood in her eye, and she's not even irritating or I can't see her. Never complained on set, never yelled or cried or anything. She was just always like, when are we gonna finish it? When are we gonna do it? When are we gonna do it next? And that was his attitude as well. They were just so excited to do it, and it was contagious having that level of excitement.
Inverse. What was your favorite part, or the part that came the most easily for both of you? Whatever that scene may be, or collection of scenes, whatever you had a lot of fun doing.
I think it was the shotgun. That was
like a John Wick moment.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was curious to see how it turned out. I think it turned out well.
If I may. If I may, the shotgun is actually a replica of a Mad Max shotgun. So again, that was like a little reference that I wanted to put into the movie, because those movies I'm talking about the Mel Gibson ones, were a huge inspiration for me.
I would come to set and Isaac would say, see this car, you're gonna drive it. See this truck, you're gonna drive it. And so one of them was fuel injected, so you don't turn it on normal. You have to, and then you can do it. And it had this race car engine, so you just press down and it just goes. And then the truck, I said, oh, I can drive that. It was stick. So I had a quick like 10-minute like crash course, and I'm just going like this, and it's stalling. Surprises everywhere.
She drove 2 cars. The one in the beginning, you know, when she comes home, and the truck at the end. 2 cars that she had never seen prior to those days, and just showed up, and I was like, "You're gonna learn how to do this because I like the way it looks." And I don't know how to drive stick.
Yeah, you taught her how to drive stick.
The owners of both vehicles, and they're not here right now, but yeah. Anyone else?
I have a follow-up, sorry.
Go ahead.
So for you, I'm a complete like indie film version, so this was my first experience. And I'm curious, you guys were talking about how it was originally a 15-minute kind of thing and then expanded. So how much of, or if any, of that original like footage came to this?
All of it. Nothing was reshot, redone, or any, it was only additions. Every time I had a new idea and we shot a scene, I would be like, what if we saw this next? What if we did this? It was always 12 pages, and I think the way it originally ended was Jacob dies, she runs off and talks into the radio, and she just runs off into the distance. And that was gonna kind of be like, you know, like a pitch basically to people. Was a concept, you know, basically. But I just loved the concept so much. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make this movie regardless. So once I convinced them of that, we did shoot the death scene, but we came back. I don't want to say we reshot it, but we shot it a second day because we amped it up. We looked at the footage, and once we knew that we were gonna go forward with this, I was like, look, we gotta amp up the death. We gotta amp up the blood, the prosthetics, the emotion, her crying, all that stuff needs to be times 10 now, basically. And once they understood that, the scene was, and I heard reactions too, like when you were like literally like this dying, it broke my heart. It broke a lot of people's heart. It seemed like nobody wanted to see you die. And I was like, literally the reaction we wanted was that you just did not want to see anybody really pass away. The president, you know, he came very, very close to getting bitten, and it seemed like people were a little bit on edge about that. But when the daughter saves him, it's the sense of relief of like, wow. And there's not a lot of people that walk away from this movie. Almost everyone essentially dies or loses someone.
For those of you who've never worked with Isaac, he doesn't waste footage. Everything gets used, there are no scraps, so he keeps everything, uses everything, and usually it's just one take, run and gun, let's do this is what it is, we're gonna get it done, we're gonna get in there, get it done, and we're gonna keep moving. He doesn't like to sit there and stall and debate and twiddle your thumbs. He gets anxious, he wants to keep moving, keep shooting. And so you could really see that in the film, in my opinion, because everything was there.
Thank you.
So.
Hey, my guy.
Hey.
It's good to see you.
This is more of a personal question that I would like all three to have individual answers for. Related to the movie, but also a little bit separate. If anyone's worked with me in the past, you know, a lot less forgiving, so I will not take I don't know for an answer. There, within Midnight Uprising and through curating and crafting a lot of this, these subjects, these elements, you know, there's apocalyptic theme, there's like a subtle religiosity attached to it as well, science fiction, of course, horror. So, and also an alien, UFO type kind of conversation that you can also have about it as well. So I want to know from all three of you, are you out there, or do you walk among us?
I think you're one of them.
So, real quick, Ronan is our production designer. He designed Specimen Zero. Right after we decided the zombies were going to glow in the dark, he kind of like drew it out and showed it to me, and that literally again inspired a lot of the movie. I was able to write the scenes of him stealing it and her protecting it. They literally came off like that. So his work inspires me in that way. And the alien spaceship scene was very, very late. Essentially, we were done with the movie. And I felt like we were referring throughout the whole movie of the crash, what happened, and never actually get to see it. And that's cool sometimes when you just refer to things, but it's also cool to see it. And so I came to him with all these ideas, a red packet and images and paragraphs and what I thought it could be the spaceship, talking about the spaceship. And literally that was literally his follow-up question, which irritated me so hard because we had to then talk hours about aliens. And he was like, well, listen, man, I gotta know. It's important to me for the design. I just have to know what you think about this if you actually believe in that. And at least for me, I'll give you, because I want you guys to answer this. You know, for me, we just talked about the idea of things being out there far beyond our understanding, other universes, other dimensions, other worlds, and what's happening on those worlds, you know, could be very similar to ours. Looking at the alien as one of us, as someone whose world, you know, the agent literally was like, no, you don't understand. You know, why do you think that is? You know, he saw something. He knows that what happened to them in their world was an accident. You know, they're not really truly the enemy. So, and for me too, I've always kind of heard theories about, you know, fallen angels being, you know, aliens, or demons being aliens, you know, those kind of connections. And so those were things that I kind of brought into my own kind of like personal way of thinking. I think there's a lot of interesting evidence out there to support it, especially after the conversations we've had, everything that he kind of dropped on me. It's hard to deny that there's something out there. Yeah. Not something out there.
I think for me, it's it's just hard for me to believe that consciousness is limited to humans alone. It seems to find a way to continue. So I think we're just one of those stages of that continuation. So when we talk about aliens or space stuff, I get excited. But I do think about that sometimes, and I want to know those answers. Sometimes these movies, these logos kind of make you think maybe it could be like this. So yeah, I would say that. Yeah, that's the yes for me.
Was the question, do we believe in aliens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Do you guys just ever look up at the night sky sometimes and you see something and you're like, is that a UFO, you know?
Yeah.
I think Arizona is like notorious for UFO sightings as well.
Phoenix Lights.
Yeah, Phoenix Lights.
Question for Danielle. So after your husband died, John, you go through the 5 stages of grief pretty quickly, but you're able to really convey them and portray them in the movie. So, 1, can you cry after man? Because I didn't see any tears. 2, how were you able to develop that skill to accurately portray in a movie?
I think there was so much stuff that we were shooting was go, go, go. There were some tears, but you know, when you do so many takes and you're running for 15 minutes straight and then you have to go straight to crying, sometimes you can do it. But yeah.
I think too, it's like important to like, you know, not to do ugly crying in movies, because sometimes there truly is ugly crying and you're just like, what are you doing? So for her, it was important to find that line of emotional, but also you're tough. You're a tough person. You're able to control yourself and know what it is that you're feeling in certain situations and still defend yourself. You know, when she's alone in that scene in the dark and she finds a zombie in the corner, you know, she is in an emotional state, but she still has the means to defend herself, to protect herself by picking up the axe and slicing off the zombie's head.
What were you cooking in the house?
That was you. That was all you. You brought you brought the food and you made it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we actually ate it. It was like spinach, mushroom. I think it was like tortellini, and we all ate it afterwards. It was like a pasta mixture. It was really good.
Can she cook that? Was it good? Yeah. John, do you actually drink whiskey, or was that kind of just?
Absolutely, that's the only way I work.
Yes, man.
I told him that if I was gonna do this, it had to be real. I couldn't fake it. Nah, I'm just kidding. He was just sweet tea, and I try to make it convincing, I guess.
Funny story about that scene is we were shooting it in the kitchen, and the location we were shooting at was probably like 20-30 minutes from my house, not too far, and I completely forgot the bottle with the skull on it that he pours and drinks and everything. And so we're on set, and everyone's like, well, let's just cut it, let's just not do it, you know, it's okay, it's fine, you know. Me being the person I was, I have to drive back home and get it, and he has to do it for a 5-second scene. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with this. It's just a cool shot. It's just a cool looking bottle. It's just a cool looking prop. So that was like, everyone wait here real quick. I'll be right back. And I have literally 20 extras getting zombie makeup on as I'm racing home, racing back just for a bottle for him. So, you know, for me, stuff like that was very important because it just showed the character and what he's into and his style.
The devil's in the details. Attention to detail is kind of what makes the movie, right? Every little thing adds to the whole. But it definitely speaks to your character. Having people sitting in a stranger's house and then drive technically an hour and a half just to get a bottle. Very impressive. Very impressive. Any more questions?
Liquor, man.
Sorry,
Right over there. We're gonna be wrapping here real soon. I really appreciate the ones that are hanging out like this. This is cool. Really cool.
Question for me, as also to the cast as well. What was like the goal in mind when you were making this film, and like how far do you want to see this movie go? You know, was it just for the community, for people, or was it something bigger that you wanted to see happen? And with the actors, why did you take this role? Why were you like, yeah, I'll do this? And how do you feel about what you did? How do you feel about what this movie was?
It's a hard question to answer, just because I'm always thinking very big. I am. It's both a curse and a gift at the same time of just, you know, constantly thinking about the future, of the possibilities, things that could happen. For me, it was important to you know, doing Remnant Falls, I wanted to tell a really cool and interesting protagonist story. And so that's what that was. And with this one, it was like floodgates were open. Everyone is, again, now the main character, and you get to explore all that depth through every side character, everyone that enters into the frame. And so that became really important to me. Yes, the community was always important. The community was the main character, if you want to really call it something, because scene after scene, you're constantly being introduced to new people. And I'm sure at a certain point you're like, when does the movie start? Like, who's the main person that I'm supposed to be following? Because I'm just constantly meeting new people after new people. But I hoped that we found a way to intertwine all their stories together. Yeah, here, I'll let you guys answer yours.
For me, I think I did want to collab with you. I was excited about the prospect of working together. I think you had a very detailed representation of what it was that you wanted to make. And then also after reading the script, I could see Jacob. I fell in love with the character. I liked his arc. So that's all we did.
For me, I have a soap opera background. So this was very different and very challenging, and just really pushed me to the limit emotionally, physically. So I'm really grateful that Isaac gave me this opportunity.
If I may, really quick, I do want to mention Anthony. Yeah, yes, I do want to mention you, man. The first scene that we shot with Anthony was in the mayor's office, and if you notice in that scene, he says absolutely nothing. He's just standing in the background, and at a certain point, we both improvised this. I was like, you should just look out the window and we'll see like lights out there, and you know. So he does that. He's looking around as they're talking, and I go back home and I look at the footage, and I just thought, what is that guy thinking? what is going on in his head? And that was a character that spawned and sprung, and again it was like I keep coming back to him. I'm like, hey, I know you're done with the movie, I know it looks like you may have died, but what if you didn't actually die? What if, you know, you actually came back and was the one that saved her in the bunker? You know, what if you were the one that actually discovered specimen 0, and then your fate at the end when you die, it all kind of like is very impactful, and as an audience member you're like, well crap, I didn't want him to die. He again doesn't feel like an antagonist, but it feels like he has good intentions, and he's been through a lot. He's lost his partner, he's lost the mayor, he's trying to defend the world, but then he lost his life in this kind of confusion and mixed of emotions between everybody. So I want to say, Anthony, I'm grateful for you, dude, because again, that character just became more than we could have ever imagined, all from a look, man, all from you saying nothing, man. So seriously, kudos to you, dude.
I know we gotta wrap up here.
Yes, we do.
We have at least one more question for John. Were you a little disappointed that your character died so soon?
Like an hour in the movie.
That felt soon, man. It felt soon.
To be honest, like the way the final cut looks, I think I'm content. Like at first I was like, I want to go on. I want a sequel, man. Give me a sequel. But then I felt like it was complete. So I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're happy with how your character
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like he came back as a zombie and then died, and then there's a flashback. I feel like everything is there. I don't think there's any more needed out of like.
Nah, there's more. Oh, okay. There's more for sure. You can haunt her, man. Come on, haunting her memories. You know, dude. I would love an opportunity to work with you again, and if we found a way to make it make sense, you know, I'm not done with you. I hope you're not done.
Nah, I guess I'm coming back.
Don't go. Her next. You have anything else?
How much time do I have left?
That's it. That's it. No, that is it.
That was kind of my final question.
Do you have anything else you guys want to say? No, you guys have anything you want to say?
I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming out and staying for the Q&A. Thank you.
Again, from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate you guys for supporting, you know, local artists like this. You know, again, it's not about me, it's about the community. It's about these people that kind of just rose up and seized the opportunity to make something really fascinating, really interesting. And so very grateful for this opportunity. I want to thank Pollock Cinema for hosting us, for allowing us to do this here. And hope you guys have a good night home.
Thank you guys so much.